Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO, Mr. Zach Stanley.
John, do you keep on this path of positive anchoring and hosting of the show? You could be the real McCoy.
I'm not going to deal with this anymore.
Well, stop being shady then.
That one does work.
You know what happens? You know what happens when the Eagles' backup falls in mud?
I'm waiting.
They call him Dirty Mark Sanchez.
Oh, okay. That one just got us kicked off the air. See you later, guys. We're done. All right.
Nobody knows what that means.
That's true. That voice you heard making a strange pun was a SFL family member.
That was a good one.
Nick Steblenko.
I'm on a sprawl.
Are you? Are you on a sprawl?
If you are, then continue.
Continue with what?
See, he has no more.
Would you like me to gather some more?
Wow. This just makes me sad. I'm not going to lie. The Star Fantasy League show, we thought this was going to be a cool thing where we broke down all 32 NFL teams. All it turned out to be is that we're breaking down the puns of all 32
Star
teams.
Fantasy League show has turned into a bad pun game.
Yeah. Even when Seth was here, he took the pun game in stride and just kept going. And I think he single-handedly tried to kill the game.
Yeah.
He attempted.
Well, he's always been that way, though.
That is true. He does take jokes and
he'll do that. He'll do that through the whole show, no matter what we're talking about.
That is true.
Yeah.
He also doesn't really know what's going on. That's usually a problem. If you couldn't already tell by our pun game today, we are talking about the 2014-15 Philadelphia Eagles. It doesn't work like that.
Nope,
doesn't.
He would never do that.
I got really excited for the Oakland Raiders because just to say their name like that.
Raiders.
There you go. Perfect. So we were talking Philadelphia Eagles, but first we got some news, and we'd like to talk some news because I think we have the next coming of Golf Jesus, and his name is Rory.
Isn't this like yesterday's news?
Yes, but we didn't get to it because we spent 7,000 minutes talking about Phil Rivers' arm. We literally spent the entire day yesterday, Nick just saying that Phil Rivers is a top 3 quarterback.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that actually.
You said.
No, I believe I said 8.
Top.
I put him at 8.
Yeah, and we got him up to. We figured out he was the 6th overall quarterback last year. Top 5, not completely out of the question.
If he gets 8 or above, I will give you credit.
He was 6th last year.
That'll be good enough.
He was 6th last year.
I know.
Which, I mean, we're going to talk about
Pete and repeat.
We're going to talk about another quarterback today who is hoping to get in that exact same spot, the probably 6 to 8 range. In what's that guy's name? Nicholas Folia?
Foliage.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, never heard of him before.
Yeah,
Who's he?
Foles. It's the root. It's the root word is Foles. Yeah.
Wow. Thank
the
you
root
so
word
much
is
for that.
foliage. Is that more correct?
What?
It doesn't. None of it makes sense.
He's
anyways.
just saying words.
Yeah,
Literally.
words.
Yeah.
All right, we got
sentences.
Golf.
We're talking about grass and hitting clubs at the grass to make the ball go in the hole. That's golf, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty remarkable Sunday with a very interesting 18, as I know we've discussed.
Very interesting final one. That's what everyone's really talking about.
Yeah, Phil Mickelson had a right to be pissed off, in my opinion.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. Why? What is the big deal here? Who do you actually think was at the biggest disadvantage because you let somebody play up?
But
the person at the biggest advantage is the person that's playing up.
Well, but did they really actually play up? Because Phil and Ricky both finished before Rory even got to the green.
Well, they let him hit his second shot, which he could have got to the green, but he actually ended up laying up. I think that was the problem.
He hit in the bunker.
Huh? Yeah. He was attempting to lay up.
He hit it in the bunker, and then they finished up. I mean, he couldn't have. He wasn't going to take a shot after that. The point was that Phil and Fowler were under the impression that they were only going to play up on the tee shot, and they ended up playing up on the green as well. And it turned into a waiting game where they weren't able to take their shots, which is number one, unusual, and is kind of a difference in how they pace out the hole. Rory ends up moving faster and getting up to his ball to hit it more quickly, and Phil and Fowler are left waiting for Rory to hit a shot. The point was that they didn't expect that.
Well, my thing is...
They said they were told differently.
My thing is that Rory was catching up to them the entire time anyways, and when you play golf the way that we play it, if you're the faster player, you're supposed to play through. Obviously, that doesn't happen on the PGA Tour, but maybe Phil and Ricky should have hurried up. Maybe they should have played a little quicker, because if they had any problem with it, which honestly I don't know that they actually did have a huge problem with it, then it may have rested on their shoulders as well.
But even when Phil got up to his tee shot before then, whatever, Oosthuizen was still up there, so there was no moving. Usually everybody is waiting because everybody's got a group ahead of them.
The issue was that it was too dark.
Yeah,
you can't finish the round.
No, I understand why they did it, but the fact was that it seemed as though it got explained to them incorrectly that they were going to be hitting up both shots.
Yeah, I agree.
Nick, I can't back your whole speed it up on 18, putting for basically almost $1 million. That's what it came down to.
No, I didn't say speed it up on 18. I said speed it up in general.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant on 18. I was like, oh my God, that's the biggest shot of your life.
If it wasn't their fault, then the PGA needs to do a better job of figuring out.
You're telling the PGA Tour to play it forward, is what you're saying.
Play it forward. No, play faster.
Yeah, that's their whole thing, is to play it forward.
Who knows? All right.
Pay it forward.
You know what they should have done? They should have just pulled out a little Legend of Bagger Vance, got everybody's cars out there, everybody out there with lights blazing.
I was glad that it really didn't,
affect the ending.
It didn't significantly damage anyone. I think they had some difficulties on their second shots on that hole, but Phil almost put it in the hole.
He almost holed it.
But Ricky's putt was terrible.
Yeah, it was really bad.
He was going for it. He needed to hold it.
Either way, unless they made a miraculous shot, Rory was in line to win this thing. And we have seen the next coming of golf stardom, and it is exciting. I think that people, because he's not American maybe, because he's not as much of a draw in terms of how he reacts to shots or how he is on the golf course. I'm not really sure what the whole thing is.
Although his post-press conference where he said that dumping Wozniacki was the reason that he's playing better, that's going to get him
It helped
some
him concentrate
press.
on his game, which makes sense.
Maybe your buddy Justin should take a page out of his book.
What, dump the lady?
Justin Verlander.
Dump the lady? Kate Upton, goodbye?
Maybe you should.
All right, before we move on to the Philadelphia Eagles, I have to mention really quickly, when we were talking about the Houston Texans, we mentioned Andre Brown as a possible handcuff for Arian Foster. Gone, released. Didn't play in the first preseason game. People thought that they were going to audition for the third or fourth running back. Nope, they just don't like Andre Brown. Gone.
Well, they also drafted a running back, Alfred Blue, and I know that he's still third on the depth chart. But
Jonathan Grimes now moves into the second spot.
Yeah, so, obviously there was something wrong there. And, we see this a lot where, a guy gets signed in the offseason and maybe he comes into camp and he is just not what they were expecting. Maybe he was out of shape. Maybe he had a bad attitude. But maybe the Texans are making a great decision right now.
Clearly a surprise.
Very big surprise.
Absolutely.
Definitely a surprise.
He was getting drafted as early as a week ago, I saw.
Yeah, when these things happen, I always go with the they know more than I do philosophy. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely true in this case. Whatever they didn't like about him, whatever they didn't see fitting in, to drop a guy like that, you know exactly what you're doing. You know why you're doing it, because you're not keeping him. You're not even keeping him on the team. You're not putting him down.
Yeah.
No, you're putting him down.
And money also plays a factor. Money is always a factor in something like that because
they're going to want somebody else to pick up his contract.
Yep.
Yep. Speaking of money, we're going to talk about the 2014-15 Eagles. If you're in an auction league in fantasy, you're going to be spending a lot of money to get any member of the Philadelphia Eagles this season. I feel like all their auction values are just going to shoot through the roof, especially that Foles guy, because somebody's going to spend $15 too much in an auction league.
I got him for $1 and a keeper.
No, you didn't.
I did. I picked him up for $1.
Yeah, you did. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Look how excited you are.
As you can see, Nick might be in that league.
Yeah, he might possibly. All right, so we're talking about the Eagles last season were a major surprise. Chip Kelly, we didn't really know what we were going to get out of Chip Kelly's high-powered offense coming from college, but it translated. Quite well.
I think it had a lot to do with the pieces, too. He had the pieces to the puzzle last season. Everybody thought Michael Vick could be that guy, particularly myself. I did actually have him in that same keeper league.
Ouch.
So that hurt. But anyways, having LaShawn McCoy was unbelievable. Now he adds Darren Sproles to that mix, and I think they have the best pass-catching duo out of the backfield in the NFL.
Yeah, and I like that Jeremy Maclin, if he can stay healthy, is going.
That's his full name, by the way. Jeremy Maclin, if he can stay healthy, is his actual given name.
It's in parentheses.
Yeah, exactly.
If he can, he could be great. I think that he's more versatile, maybe even slightly more athletic than Deshaun Jackson. He's not faster,
That's true. Yeah.
But I think that he could have I know we've talked about this, Nick.
Yep.
I think he could have a really big year. And Jordan Matthews is definitely somebody to keep an eye on as well. I don't have a lot of confidence in Riley Cooper overall.
Hold on. Jordan Matthews, for all the hype he's getting, just dropped three balls thrown to him in the first preseason game and didn't look very good.
I don't put a lot of stock in that. The guy's a rookie. This is his first shot on the big stage. It's just...
Yeah, we all know he's got a way to go. Zach Ertz is coming up in the passing game as well.
That's an understatement.
I think you lose Jackson, yes, but we know all of the issues that Deshaun has had over time. Not just...
What do you mean? He has no issues according to him. There's no issues.
Not just off the field.
None.
But how he's conducted himself in training, in meetings, even on the field at times. In terms of the effort that he's putting in. Just some overall issues there. So I think that'll put away a distraction. And adding Sproles in there, I think, makes them more... I think they can be more dynamic this year than they were last year.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to get to the biggest offseason question for these Eagles. With a full year of tape on Chip Kelly's offense, will teams be better prepared for the Eagles' high-powered offense in 2014? Because, let's be honest, last year, no opposing defensive coordinator had any clue what he was going to run. Was he going to run the college offense? Was he going to run a combination of something like that?
Better prepared? Yes.
But I don't know if there's a way to stop it.
No, there's no stopping it, I don't think. Once you get
Turnovers,
past that half point of the season, 3/4 of the way through the season, and you're not seeing teams pick up on what's going on.
They got better. They actually got better.
You're not seeing a decrease. You're seeing them, mold together and get better as the season wears on. I think they'll be just as much of a threat offensively. And hard to figure out, like we said, not just because of the playbook and the coach, but because of all those pieces they have in place that cater perfectly to that playbook.
I think there's going to be one minor step backwards, and I think that's going to be with Nick Foles, just because 27-2 was his touchdown to interception ratio.
Ungodly.
That's not, you can't sustain that. That's just unsustainable.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns too. The guy actually could get out.
And I think that hats off to Chip Kelly's offense on that one because of the style of play that the offense dictates. Short passes, getting players out into space, taking the football out of his hands during his first full season. So I think that's going to help. I think that's going to take a step backwards in the sense that maybe Nick Foles is going to be a little more comfortable. Maybe he starts taking a few more chances. He's going to throw more interceptions.
And he could have had a couple more touchdowns if he didn't have to play in Snowball Part 2.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true.
That game was crazy.
That was insane.
So he's gonna continue throwing short passes. He now has Darren Sproles and LaShawn McCoy.
I just think you see like 10 interceptions this year.
Yeah, that might happen. Even if it does, he's still going to be great. Coming after the break, we are talking Philadelphia Eagles 2014-15 fantasy outlook and the rest of the team in general. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
That is right. You can tweet us at SFL Show if you want to send us something nice about Chip Kelly and his wonderful offense, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We are transitioning on to a certain defense that decided not to stop anyone last season. They were, in a nice word, atrocious. That's a nice way of putting it.
I mean, I think the first thing that came to mind when I looked at that was, they play such an up-tempo offense, so the defense is going to be on the field more. But even still, being 29th overall, that's got to stop. Because you can't go into the playoffs with a 29th ranked defense. As we saw last year, they lost to the Saints. And in all honesty, their offense could have kept up, maybe even done better than the Saints. So you can't go into the playoffs with such an atrocious defense and expect to do anything there. That's just that can't continue.
Their defense was so Jekyll and Hyde last season. 32nd against the pass, 10th against the rush, 26th in takeaways. I mean, you have to do something right. Do something right.
Again, I think that the passing is because other teams were always down against them.
That's
at least they've made the effort to shore some things up going into this season.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean they did go out and get some guys. They got Nolan Carroll and Malcolm Jenkins for the secondary. That's certainly anything you do there, as long as it's upgrading at least one of those positions, is going to help. Does it mean they're going to be great? Probably not.
Here's the other thing, too. Every time I go over one of these teams, I look at their depth chart, and I know that we're still in camp, and I know that there's a lot of players out there, but this is really the first defense where I have seen a fourth team on the defense. And when you look at that and you think of the Eagles and what they do as a team, you got to figure they're going to be rotating a lot of guys in. That's maybe how they're going to kind of combat how poorly their defense was last season, because I mean, they drafted four guys on defense. They went out and they got a couple of guys that are veterans, and you just got to think, man, maybe they really are. They're just going to cycle guys into this defense.
Well, at least they're getting deeper. At least they're going to have their choice to have some battles in camp and have some people show up and prove themselves and get, make themselves a standout out of the group. I mean, it can only go up from here. So
that's the biggest understatement of the show so far. It can't get worse. They gave up 48 points to an Adrian Peterson-less Minnesota Vikings last year.
And this is a quick hit offense a lot of the time. So it gets the other team back on the field pretty quickly, and they're going to have to show up. I mean, the offense should be able to put up more than enough points this year. They're so talented. They're so rounded. They've got so many different tools. We'll just have to see how it goes, but I mean, they're looking pretty good, especially in this division right now with where some of these teams are at. They're looking in pretty good shape.
And they're playing a really interesting schedule, and I say interesting, and I mean they get the NFC West. They get to play the Colts, the Jaguars, and the AFC South.
Yeah, they have the South and the that's just a crazy combination.
And they're going to play Green Bay. So they're going to play a couple of offenses that are really pretty good. They're going to play some defenses that are pretty good. They're going to get an all-around test.
Yeah, Zach, you mentioned they're in the NFC East, which is very well documented. That division, they like to kill each other. It always comes down to week 16 and 17 between at least two of these teams for the title. Vegas thinks the same thing. The Eagles have a 9-game over-under for wins, and the lowest in the division has 7.5. So they're thinking that all of the teams are going to finish between 7 and 9 wins.
Yeah, when have we last seen better than 10 out of 6 out of this division?
5 years?
No, yeah, and it's just because every time they play each other, there is a real rivalry between those teams.
Yeah, they want to kill each other.
Yeah, and you can argue that if RG3 is able to improve on what he did last year, they have the pieces to do something. Dallas is always in the mix. I don't really have a lot of confidence in the Giants, but they
could surprise you.
They could.
So one team out of this division always comes out and they just do something you really didn't expect.
Yeah, Washington 2 years ago, Philadelphia last year. Who is it this year? Probably the Giants.
Or the Cowboys.
Yeah, that might be true.
I guess we'll be talking about it.
The good thing is it's only Tuesday, which means Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're discussing the rest of the NFC East, but we are focused on the Philadelphia Eagles of Philadelphia, who like to throw things at
Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's true.
City of hate.
And batteries at players. They're insane people. We shouldn't really say anything rude because we're only 5 hours away from Philadelphia. Their fans are insane. They might come up here.
Yeah, but Buffalo fans are the drunkest in the NFL according to a recent study, so go Buffalo.
Well, yeah, you got to get your internal temperature up to not freeze during games.
Yeah, that's what one of the comments was it's just so cold. They got to be warm out there.
Got to be hammered, right?
You know what? That makes perfect sense to me. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's talk about another question for the offseason for Philadelphia. Which unknown wide receiver will step up when the inevitable injury occurs? Let's be honest. That Jeremy Maclin kid is made of glass. What's the most games he's played in a season?
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say he's made of glass. Last season was the season that he didn't play a single game.
I know he's had injuries in the past as well.
Well, he only played 13 games in 2011, but other than that, he's only missed 1 game or 2 games out of his entire 4-year career.
Okay, so
5-year career if you count last year.
Yeah, that's 1 season. 3 years, 3 the year before. I mean, coming off a major injury, though, you kind of have to – you think he's not going to play a full season.
I think he will, as long as he doesn't re-injure that knee. I mean, he has said that there's been a little bit of soreness in his knee, so that is something to be a little cautious about. But I think that he's perfectly capable of throwing out a 16-game season.
The opening is there for him to have the best year of his career, clearly. With Deshaun Jackson leaving, they said this guy is going to be the guy going into this year, and he's going to be targeted a ton. I mean, the way that Nick Foles was able to open up Deshaun Jackson's game last year with the deep ball, and if you look at the rest of the guys here, Jordan Matthews still going to have to grow a lot. Zach Ertz with Selleck also will be the reliable guys as check downs along with the running backs. But Riley Cooper, big play threat here and there. Maclin's going to be the reception guy on this team.
Yeah.
Is there anybody lesser known that you think might come up if one of these guys does not pan out?
I think you have to watch Jordan Matthews. Zach said it already, because Riley Cooper, I just don't have a lot of faith in him either as a dynamic player. He does show up every once in a while. He'll come up with a deep ball here and there. But at least with Jordan Matthews, you have this possibility. He has a high ceiling. He's a rookie. There's this possibility of him becoming a major part of the offense.
Not to mention, I feel like Riley Cooper is fantasy quicksand. You look at him, you're like, that's interesting. You pick him up, 4 for 60. 4 for 28.
He's absolute hit or miss, no reliability. Big play guy, one catch here and there.
And you're stuck on him, too. You're always like, I'm going to play him next week because he has a great matchup.
I've never been the one to run to the waiver wire for Riley Cooper. Waiver wire for Riley Cooper.
Wow.
There you
go ahead. 3 times fast.
Tongue twister.
That is a tongue twister.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that Jordan Matthews, regardless of we talking about the drops in the preseason, but he's already third wide receiver on the depth chart.
Yep.
He's already moved up to that spot. The coaching staff already has enough confidence in him. Clearly, they've seen enough in camp from him to show that he's going to be that third guy, and it's all upside from there.
He just has to play through the rookie bumps. You're going to drop the ball when you're a rookie. You're nervous. You're going out there. You're like, man, I made it to the show. Now I really, really got to step it up. I think he'll be fine.
And in that offense, I assume that Chip Kelly is going to know when to put him in certain positions to take advantage of his skills and, not leave him out there too vulnerable, asking him to do too much.
Well, Nick, speaking of drops, you're either talking about a first-year rookie wide receiver or Emmanuel Sanders. Those are the two guys who like to drop balls a lot.
I guess so.
You
would know better than I would.
I still can't deal. He dropped so many important balls last year. He's so frustrating. Good luck, Denver. Enjoy him.
Terrell Owens.
No, he's not Terrell Owens.
Well,
Terrell Owens is a freak.
Yep. T.O. certainly dropped a lot of passes when he came to Western New York.
Yes, that sounds about right. All right, we got to talk about one more camp battle. We talked about it the other day with Ladarius Green and Antonio Gates. I think we have this almost the same exact thing. I know Brent Selleck's a little bit younger, like 3 or 4 seasons less. He's a lot younger than Antonio Gates.
Oh,
I'm saying the same situation where you have.
I thought you were going to say younger than Ertz.
You have a same situation where you have an aging veteran at tight end, and you have a young guy who's expected to basically come in and be the guy. At what point does Chip Kelly finally go, you know what? You are the guy. Move over to tight end one spot and be the guy.
I think before the season even starts.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I just think that I think you know what you have with Brent Selleck. He's a plotter. He doesn't bring a lot of athleticism to the table anymore. And Chip Kelly has such a high up-tempo offense that there's no way that he can ignore when a younger, faster, more athletic guy comes into his system.
I mean, they're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets, you would assume, right? Because they're both are. He's not as.
Yeah, I just think that you'll see Ertz in the passing role and Selleck in the blocking role more in those situations. He showed his explosiveness last year as a downfield guy, a power guy that can really step up and be a number 1 tight end. I think he can be a number 1 tight end in this league, and that he's got top 6, top 7 upside in fantasy. The outlook is good for him, and I think that how it progressed throughout the season with how they utilized him, it already showed what they're looking at for the future.
It's not to say that Selleck will never catch a pass. I mean, you'll see him in the short passing game a lot, but Ertz he can get down the field. He can stretch the middle of the field.
They had the same stats last year almost exactly, but Ertz played significantly less snaps.
Yep.
You saw it coming as the year went on. More snaps, more receptions, a lot more targets. I expect the same thing to happen.
And if Ertz hadn't been there when, or if Selleck had been there and Ertz had been there before when Vic was there, I think you might have seen some of the same stuff. Selleck a few years ago was a lot better in terms of the passing game than he is now. But once Foles came in there, Ertz kind of emerged, but I think a lot in that was due to Foles. I don't think, Michael Vick, for whatever reason or another, wasn't big on passing to the tight ends.
No. All right, you know what? Let's move on, transition into ADP, average draft position. I don't think we have to talk about LaShawn McCoy. He's going first overall right now. That's about right. If
you're in a PPR league, him or Charles, you should be fine.
Yeah. So we can move on from that. If you have the first overall pick, okay. You win.
Yep.
I want to talk about Darren Sproles in particular, going RB32, 75th overall in the 7th round. I like him. I'm not going to lie. I think he's going to be a bigger factor than a lot of people think.
I don't know. This is one of those things. This is one of those things where I have to just say.
You just don't know.
I can totally see it. I can see what you're saying.
I just see
he could be huge, especially in this offense. It's just how much and to what extent do they mix him in with McCoy? Because McCoy is just as much of a threat, if not more, in the passing game.
Here's what I will say about Sproles is that when he played in New Orleans, he always had to contend with two other running backs. There was always two other guys.
Right,
There was Mark Ingram and Pierre Thomas. So here, he's only got one other one, but he's also the workhorse. He's the heavy load running back in this offense. So
who can catch the ball as well?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. So he could really – McCoy could play all three downs, and you could see Sproles splitting out.
That's the point is when you see the three-back split in New Orleans and then you see the two here, how much of a difference really is there? Because the number one here is much ahead of anything that they had in New Orleans.
Yeah, but it causes so much of a commotion with two running backs in the backfield who can catch the ball, as opposed to New Orleans, where it's like, oh, no, he's catching the ball.
See, in the 7th round, I really think that this isn't a bad spot for him because it's kind of like you wait and see what falls to you. You see, okay, you know what? I only have two running backs. I got 4 wide receivers, or maybe, you have your tight end. At least there, then you're like, okay, I can take another running back.
You should be able to get the PPR production.
Exactly.
All right, quick question. Darren Sproles or Danny Woodhead?
Darren Sproles.
Yeah? Okay, they're going about the same spot. We just said this yesterday. One's going in the 7th, one's going like the 8th.
Yeah.
All right, coming out the break, we're going to continue talking about these Philadelphia Eagles. We also have some baseball talk for you on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And you'll listen to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at StarFantasyLeagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick. Only on The Team.
We are back, and 2 segments could not contain the 2014-15 Philadelphia Eagles talk. We got to continue.
Or contain our commotion over season-long fantasy at Star Fantasy Leagues.
That is true. Season-long leagues are live on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We teased it yesterday. They were up by the time the show aired, and they're on right now. If you want to play season-long fantasy, you have worries that your friends aren't going to pay you, guess what? You put your money in at the beginning of the season. It goes right into the middle. We hold it for you. At the end of the season, we pay you.
And test it out with some mock drafts, too. You can check out all your draft strategy. You can look at the new software. There's running every 10 minutes.
That's really cool. Like John just said, there's so many free options out there, but here we can actually take care of that for you.
Yeah, again,
take care of the money.
Your friends are likely jerks. Maybe you're spread out. Maybe you're spread out across the country, and you can't trust one guy to remember to pay you $20. Guess what? Just sign up on our site. All you got to do.
I got a few friends like that.
Or you can't trust one guy to remember to pay you when you win.
Ooh,
that's the worst.
That makes me so angry.
You spent my $200? How is that possible? You are supposed to be the bank.
I actually had a horror story about a friend of mine didn't get paid until the beginning of summer for a fantasy league that he had won in like December or January.
That's depressing. My friend, is why we keep all the player money separate at Star Fantasy Leagues.
I like that. I like that transition. All right, we're talking season-long fantasy. We got to talk about average draft position for the man for the team. He's at the helm. He came in last year. He looked incredible. His name is Nick Foles. He's only going in the 7th round right now, QB7, 77th overall. That's a lot of 7s. That's lucky, right?
Yeah, I've seen him going a lot higher than that in some drafts, and I got to tell you, I'm not okay with that.
I'm not either. I've seen him going 4th. I've seen him going 5th.
That's insane.
There's just too many guys that are behind him, and like we talked about yesterday, there's those top 3 guys that are up there.
Yep.
Breeze, Manning, and Rodgers, and then there's a little bit of a dip. Is Foles the next guy up? Sure.
Like the only time, like for me, I'm looking at maybe in the 3rd round I would take one of those top 3 guys. Other than that, I feel like it's really a waste because there's so many options at the running back and wide receiver position that you need to take them in the first 2 rounds. If you can get Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees in the 3rd or even the 4th round, because I have seen that happen miraculously before, that's okay for me. But other than that, wait till the 8th round, the 9th round. Get your quarterback last.
I don't think I've ever drafted one of the top 3 quarterbacks. It never falls to me to do it because I'm always like, ooh, I need a top receiver. Ooh, I need a top running back.
I ended up getting Peyton in the 3rd round last year, and that was obviously unbelievable. But it's just not something that I like doing very often.
Yeah, the passing NFL, the way that what the league has turned into now, which is just increasing year by year, this is the year where I feel like it's at its height. And we see it in terms of people taking receivers, some running backs falling into later rounds, but we should be seeing it the same way in the quarterbacks. In the quarterbacks, because now you've just got much deeper quarterbacks. You've got tons of different guys that can put up a lot of yards, and it's becoming more just based on how the offenses are able to produce throughout the year, rather than just the skill of the quarterback alone. There's so much potential for a lot of yards, and they get so many more chances to throw the ball.
Let another fool in some auction league take him with too much money or something like that. Drive the price up even if you want to, but there's no reason to be taking Nick Foles in the 7th round.
Or keep him for $1,
There you go.
Great.
All right,
Cool.
let's quickly discuss the wide receivers. We got Jeremy Maclin, top-rated receiver for the team. Wide receiver 26 going in the 5th round. Cooper, 42nd receiver, going in the 9th round, and Jordan Matthews going in the 11th round. That seems really.
Where's Macklin going? Can you repeat that?
He is going in the 5th round.
In the 5th round?
59th overall.
I got to be honest, that's a little bit higher than I've been seeing. I've seen him in the 6th and 7th rounds.
Have you
Yeah,
really?
I have as well.
Yeah.
I have as well.
A lot of people must be jumping on.
Yeah, and when people are jumping on, he's going up. Roddy White's going up a lot too.
I love Roddy.
I do too.
I don't. After last season, I don't like Roddy White whatsoever. I was so high on him
Injuries.
last year. Held him the entire season and then cried.
No reason to worry.
Cut him a break. He
No.
needed to get healthy.
He's Roddy White. How can you not?
Stop that.
Rowdy.
Maclin, I think, is the guy that is in the 6th and 7th round right now. If he's there, if you really believe in his upside, which I do, I haven't gotten him yet in the few drafts that I've done because I've waited too long. I've just been like, all right,
8th round.
I'm like, maybe he'll come to me in the 7th. He doesn't come to me in the 7th. He's off the board 5 or 6 picks before me, and I wish
You
I
might
had.
have to grab him in the 5th. I guess you might have to. I mean, you're putting him at your flex position, hopefully, but man, that's just rough.
If he becomes 80% of Deshaun Jackson, you got an absolute steal there.
But yeah, like we were
Absolute
saying, is
steal.
that he's more versatile than Deshaun. Deshaun is great at the deep route. He's awesome at the deep route because he can beat anybody off the line. But Maclin, he can run any route all over the field.
Yeah, I
He's
think
all
that,
over
I
the
think the
place.
numbers say that he could have just as good of a season as Deshaun, if not better.
Maybe more catches too. Maybe more receptions. Who knows?
Interesting. So maybe if he does come around to you in the 6th or 7th, you are dumb not to take him.
Maybe I should
Yeah,
just take
6.
him.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so we need to switch gears. That's the Philadelphia Eagles.
First round.
I've convinced myself.
Yeah, that's the Eagles 2014-15 outlook. Tomorrow we are switching gears to no longer America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think they're America's team anymore. I think it's the Packers.
Thank you.
I think it is. A lot of sentiments you see a lot of Packers fans across the country.
We here in Green Bay really appreciate you.
Here, we're actually in Rochester.
Well, my mind is in Green Bay.
Okay.
Bills.
I would stop that. They're not America. They're upstate New York's team, barely.
Yet they're red, white, and blue.
Okay. Wow.
Good point.
That's a thing. So are the Patriots, and they're not America's team. They're America's most hated team.
They're like red, white, or red, blue, and gray.
Yeah.
That
silver.
blue's almost purple.
Fine. All right. We're switching gears. We're talking baseball on StarFantasyLeagues.com for Tuesday. You have just over an hour to set your lineups. There are 15 contests to look at. And I'm not going to lie, my heart is no longer in baseball because season-long fantasy is on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Mocks are up. I can't stop looking at football.
The obsession has begun. And we're talking about...
It never stopped.
What is it? 3 weeks from Thursday.
Woo!
3 weeks from Thursday, we have the opening game. Can you believe it?
I can't. Well, I can because it happens at the same time every year. So yes, I can
But
believe
it just
it's coming.
there's like the June, little July weeks going by that you're like, oh, it's never gonna get here. But now it's just
Never
like,
gonna
it's upon
happen.
us.
And also this is the point. Couple weeks from now where baseball starts getting really, really exciting because the race is coming down to it. Playoffs are coming. Then you get to watch playoff baseball, football, college basketball.
Yep.
Everything's coming.
Are you sure you're
Well,
excited?
not really
for,
college basketball, but college football.
Are you sure you're excited for the end of the baseball season right now?
No.
No?
I'm concerned.
No, he's
I'm
concerned. All right,
say.
let's start off by talking about the three big pitchers going tonight. We got Chris Sale, John Lester, and Adam Wainwright. Those are three legitimate aces going. And I'll be honest, we talked about potential Oakland ending the Kansas City train of, 13 out of 14 or some ridiculous number.
They're 11-1 in the last 12.
Okay, so 11 out of their 12 games they've won. Oakland couldn't stop them yesterday. Is John Lester the guy you actually want to trot out there in fantasy to try to stop this onslaught?
Yes, he is.
Yeah?
Well, I just love John Lester. So I think that John Lester's pitching the best he's ever pitched in his career.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of confidence. But if I'm going to be picking between those three, I'm going with Chris Sale.
Yeah, although the fact that he's 3,000 more basically than the other two.
He's pitching in San Francisco, one of the best pitchers ballparks in the game. San Francisco is really not that impressive offensively,
Nope.
and he is just lights out right now. So I think there's a a value option or two out there that you can lean on.
Listen to you, like teasing that right there.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're starting to get the whole radio. You can't give it to him right away. You gotta tease him a little bit.
Getting the radio.
Yes, you are. Are we okay with that? I actually like Adam Wainwright. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try to go away from Sale and Wainwright because it's just too much money to spend. But if you're not on Sale, if you're trying to fade him, obviously you really shouldn't be. But I think Adam Wainwright's also a pretty good option.
I thought you didn't like Adam Wainwright.
No. Against Miami, really? I'm still down.
He played last time.
You did bash him the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It wasn't a bad matchup. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, neither can I.
it wasn't a great matchup. Watch, it was probably against Miami, and I sound like a jerk right now.
I feel like it was like Houston or something.
No, I hate Houston's offense.
Okay. Well, no, I think that is a good matchup for him. Potential for a lot of strikeouts against that team, obviously, as we've seen throughout the course of the season. It's hard to say for sure that you can go wrong with any of these guys tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
One of them will go wrong. I think.
Yeah, probably.
Kansas City can make you a little bit nervous with how they're playing, but they got the potential to strike out a lot too.
Yeah, but you know what? I really think that Kansas City is winning with their pitching staff too.
That's true.
Their overall ERA, I think I saw today, was just over 2 as a pitching staff.
Danny Duffy.
Yeah,
It's your boy.
For the most part, they're winning with a maximum of 5 runs right now.
Yep.
Sounds about right. All right, my guy that I'm actually interested in, right below these aces, is Colin McHugh. He's been the guy. I've really liked him in
I am
fantasy.
right on that train. Minnesota is so bad. I think that's where you really have to go tonight.
Yeah, honestly, I can't name more than 3 guys in that lineup right now for Minnesota. I mean, I could, but
Well, yeah, they sent our boy Chris Colabello down, and that was just not right.
that's stupid.
just not right.
He was hitting really well too, wasn't he? And then probably
Chris is
dropped
the
off.
boss. Chris is the boss.
He's not listening to this right now.
He should be.
He's not.
Chris, it's okay. Come back.
He's not listening to the show. All right, talk about some of your value pitches you got.
I can never say his name, so I'm not going to try. But my man Odrsamer, Despagne or Despain,
Despain.
however you say it.
Odrsamer Despain. Despagne.
For San Diego, Colorado is horrible on the road, and they are so banged up. I've loved picking against them. And they're pitching in San Diego, and I think that's just about as good as it gets. And for value, he's 9,300 right now. So I think that's a really good spot to look. I mean, you could really roll the dice on some of these guys, though. Like, you could roll the dice on C.J. Wilson.
I was just going to say that. Isn't he like just worth the slightest bit of a look against?
He scares me.
He really does.
I said to say it all season. He's been the worst.
Philly, though, he has stuff. I don't know where
he's got stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know where it's been.
He's head and shoulders above the rest.
I wasn't. Yeah,
there you go.
There
we go.
Sniff his head.
Yeah, I think that kind of killed his career. I'm not gonna lie.
When he started those bad boys.
Yep.
The other one that you could look at, I think, is Jeremy Hellickson, although that's another big-time role.
What about spending a little bit more money and going for Wiley Peralta? I'm calling him Wiley. I'm not calling him Willie. It's not happening. Against the Chicago Cubs? Come on now.
Yes and no. There's a couple of guys that actually hit him pretty well on the team.
Yes and no, great.
Both, definitely yes.
All right,
but
also
no.
There's plenty of pitching tonight. You're gonna have a lot of stuff to pick from, a lot of arms. Talk about quickly some stacks we're interested in.
Well, I mean, there are some different options out here with some a couple chuds laying around.
Yep.
I'm looking at the Detroit-Pittsburgh game.
What a surprise!
I know. Well, yeah, but don't you agree?
Yeah, of course.
Well, there's only one thing that's wrong with that is that there's a really good chance of rain tonight. There's a whole bunch of storms coming through the Northeast, so you really have to monitor, make sure that the lineups are out and that they're going to be playing. Because I actually like both sides of the ball on that one, but you can't go throwing a guy in there if he's not going to be playing today. So if they do play, I personally like Pittsburgh. I think that Josh Harrison is on a tear. I think you could throw Russell Martin in there. But on the other side of the ball, obviously Edinson Volquez is terrible.
Oh, stop that!
He's horrible.
I've pitched him 3 or 4 times this season and actually gotten really good results. It's just who you go up against.
Him and gotten some homers.
It's all about matchups. All right, coming off the break, we're giving you all of our top plays for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are back, and we are bringing lots and lots of value and presents for our lovely, loyal listeners to the Star Fantasy League Show. We just mentioned a couple times we have We don't only have daily fantasy for football. We have season long. We're the first site to launch both season and daily in the same spot.
The dream has finally come true.
The dream has come true. It's something that we've all wanted, and we know that a lot of fantasy fanatics have wanted for a long time because there just isn't that many great pay-to-play season-long sites out there.
We've been drafting since we were in diapers, pretty much. So this has been a long time coming.
So we were like in our diapers when we were 11.
Yeah.
So
okay,
now,
I would say there's got to be a weird.
Well, I don't know what the problem is.
Nick had a really big diaper.
Yeah, if you want to play daily and season long in the same spot, it's really easy. And you got mock drafts, so if you don't really know the software yet, get used to it. Start playing, see what it looks like. Just get used to all the buttons where they are. It's easy.
I'm playing obsessively.
It's built by players for players. We love daily fantasy. We love season long. We built this for you guys.
And more to come, too. More additions, more games, all different things you can do. You can create custom and private leagues. Ton of fun.
And we're offering the biggest bonus we've ever given. Free 14, FREE14. When you deposit, you get a 100% bonus to $2,000 and also an $11 credit to play in any game you want. Look at that. That's how much more value can we give? We can't. We're going to go broke.
I'm not giving any more than
We're going to go broke if we keep doing this.
Yeah.
$2,000 bonus? Are you kidding me?
It's big money.
All right, let's give our top plays of the day for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Just run them off.
All right, I'm going with Josh Harrison, who's been hot, 20 hits in his last 10 games, and you got to like the righty versus lefty matchup there against Ray. And then
Robbie Ray.
I'm going with Chris Davis as my value play. 4 home runs in his last 7 games. Too cheap to ignore, but watch the weather. It might rain hard out there.
How about your pitcher?
My pitcher is going to be Chris Sale. Hard to deny
Surprise.
it, especially against San Francisco. I'm going to take that $20,000 and still look at it as value with the potential to go really deep into that game there. And I'm going to stack that Tigers game if somehow they manage to avoid.
Hopefully they do, because I like that game a lot.
All right, Nick, do it.
All right, batter of the day is going to be Anthony Rizzo, which is why I did not like Willie Peralta. He's 8 of 19 against Willie P, and he has 4 home runs out of those 8 hits.
It's Wiley,
Anthony Rizzo.
I like him. I'm going to go with B.J. Upton as my value play. He's 10 of 36, 5 home runs with a 1.000 OPS versus Dan Herron. And pitcher of the day is going to be Odor Sommer. I can't say your last name, but you are my man, Despage. Colorado is horrible against the road on the road. They're 27th in WOBA on the road. And then stack the L.A. Angels against Jerome Williams. He's going to get played.
Los Angeles, Anaheim, Angels of the Underworld.
Upton girl.
No, stop that. All right, I'm all on this Tampa Bay train tonight. They're up against Nick Tepesch. Nick Tepesch is terrible.
Yeah, he is horrible.
No, Tepesch. Stop it. I'm all on Evan Longoria for my hitter of the day. He's been pretty good lately, and he's still at a great price. Matt Joyce for my value of the day. Tampa Bay for the full stack if you can get it. And Colin McHugh is my pitcher of the day. If you're not spending for the top 3 guys,
love that one.
Go for Colin McHugh or go for 2. Sale
really
McHugh
good.
and a value
I think
play.
you go like McHugh, Lados, and Despage, and you are just good to go.
I think you can go Sale, Despage, and McHugh and win.
Tepeshi mode.
I actually like that a lot.
That was a good one. Yes,
wow,
like
that's one of the best things you've ever said. You know what one of the best things you've ever done is?
Create Mount Chudmore?
No, I was going to say offering up an insane bonus on StarFantasyLeagues.com for the unveiling of season-long fantasy football.
Well, I hope everybody is excited as I am, and we all here at Star Fantasy Leagues, because this took some time. It is really cool.
It's a big day.
And it's not going anywhere.
Yep, free 14 is the bonus code, FREE14, 100% bonus to $2,000. You also get an $11 credit to play in any game you want. That's $2,011.
It's huge.
That's a lot.
Big money.
We should have done 2014.
Big money.
It's 2014.
Free
Man.
14.
Yeah, that does work. All right, you can still get $5 free. Tweet us at SFL Show if you want it in your account. I can't help. We're giving away more value. And what'd you say? Say it again. I want to hear it.
Cash money.
That's not what I asked for. I wanted you to say it. He didn't say it. The best nickname I've ever heard, Tepeshi Mode. Take it easy, guys.